Yes, now, bless now. Don't forget the rest now, people. I might have to shift myself a moment here. Hold on. Des at King of the Pit TV signing in. Bada bing, bada bum. Right. Metal subgenres tier list. Right. This silly sausage, instead of just putting the actual genres as the selection, he's just put a bunch of bands for the most part. So I've got the answers up top as to what each one means. We've got S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, and F tier. So this is going to be a little insight as to where I stand with this music, or at least with metal. We're going to start with tech death, alright? So number one, technical death metal. What do you think, people? Where does tech death deserve to go? I'm going to put tech death. Depends what we consider tech death. I always associate it with overt sort of sci-fi, heavy duty, technical music, not like Suffocation and stuff like that. I associate it with the Faceless and Origin and Obscura and bands of that nature. But to put a long story short, tech death, you're D tier. You're D tier. I'm going to be tight, you're D tier, right? Not enough mosh for me. Too egocentric at parts. I'm not amazed by incredible production value. I like my music more dumbed down, more primitive. Not fond of virtuoso stuff. Okay? So tech death, you got in tier D, right? What have we got next? I don't even know what album cover that is. We're going to have a look. Fall. What the hell is Fall? Right. I'm going to have to pause and work out what this bloody second tier even is. One moment. Alright, people. I don't know if you know what this is, but well, I don't know why it doesn't just fall under mathcore, to be honest, or along the lines of that. But Google has brought up a response that Fall is in relation to bands like Animals as Leaders, Meshuggah, Dillinger Escape Plan. It didn't say this, but I assume Born of Osiris and stuff like that as well. Genty in a way, you know what I mean? Fall or gent, perhaps. Have we got a different categorization for gent? Yeah, we actually do. So I don't know really what this is, but as far as the bands that are concerned, like Stop and Starty, Chuggy Wuggy, heavy, time signatures all over the place, very spastic, just very mathematical and just high intensity, high complexity. I like the craft, I like the musicianship, but once again, like tech death, it's a bit too much for me. It's a bit too much for me. I'm not going to take you down as low as F, but you can join tech death. I mean, I like Meshuggah from what I've heard. I like Born of Osiris more. But it's just, I can only hear so much of it. Can only hear so much. So we got Jane Doe as the cover of this next one. What are we calling this? Metalcore. Right, metalcore. So, to me, there's two metalcores. There is Slayer worship, 90s-esque mosh metalcore, and then there's Parkway Drive, chuggy breakdown, Atreyu style of metalcore. And don't get me wrong, I kind of like them both. Not to a crazy extent, but I like them both. Earlier, when I was younger, I enjoyed the 2000s pop metalcore. But nowadays, I don't mind a mosh metal band. I don't mind the 90s like European mosh metal band, as long as they're half decent at what they do. Because I do like Slayer riffs, and I like Slayer riffs in hardcore music. So, as far as metalcore is concerned, you know what? I'll pop you onto C tier, because there's a lot of work to be done. There is a lot of work. I don't listen to metalcore, but I enjoy it when I come across it. You know, there's a few good bands out there that I do enjoy. And next, we've got another band. I don't know who this is. Symphonic metal. Right, I don't know enough about symphonic metal. I'm going to annoy the Nightwish fans here. By default, I don't listen to you. I'm not impressed. We'll take you on to D. D tier, alright? We've got Sabbath next. So what does Sabbath mean? Doom. Right, Doom. I don't mind Doom, and I don't mind Doom properties when it crosses over into other styles of music. I've been to a couple of Doom festivals, and it does get boring after so long hearing band after band play these style of riffs. I prefer Doom with a bluesy element when they throw the passing blues note into the music as opposed to just being pure pentatonic. I don't really do any of that no more, so I'm not much of a, stoner metal sort of head. And we've got Waking the Cadaver, I think, logo third in at the bottom, which that's the old school logo. That's hard, that. Sabbath, doom metal. You're above tech death. You're above that mathcore fall stuff. I'll put you in C tier, Doom. Even though it's a I'm being nice to you, alright? I'm being nice to you. C tier. So next we've got hair metal. Hair metal, bro, you're going straight to B. You're going straight to B. Glam rock's got the best riffs. They were banging all the girls. So every fella who wants to be in a band, for women, if you start a metal band, you're just gonna be playing to dudes. If you start a glam band and you have the balls to go out there and look the way these dudes do, you do pretty well. At least if you're a decent band. So yeah, just purely for that B. I like Motley Crue, or at least I like Motley Crue when they're not doing the ballads. Guns N' Roses is like a rock band, but I would put Guns N' Roses in the same way. I like Led Zeppelin too. They're not glam bands, but they share the aesthetic, and I like that. I like that look. I think that's cool. So yeah, B tier. Next we've got deathcore. Right, this is gonna be a tough one. This deathcore. So I signed out of deathcore in like 2007, 2008, mate. Well, did I? No, I probably signed out of deathcore maybe at around 2010, 2011. Because I definitely still enjoyed All Shall Perish. As Blood Runs Black into 2010, 2011. But I came up through like the peak of deathcore music. All of my alternate mates were into deathcore. Bring Me the Horizon, Whitechapel, Carnifex. All of these bands, Annotations of an Autopsy. You know, some of them bands were really local to me. Some of them were American, obviously. Job for a Cowboy. All of the... You know what? Deathcore, I wasn't the biggest deathcore head, but it influenced me a lot. I had stretched ears. I got into the brutal aspect of it, you know what I mean? Like pig squeals and all of that gnarly stuff. I did like the scene kid era. So, you know what? Deathcore... Yeah, I'm going to throw you on to B, deathcore. I'm going to throw you on to B. I don't give you much respect nowadays, but, you know, I don't really enjoy listening to deathcore nowadays. There's not much that pleases me. But in this day and age, I would also say as far as metal, deathcore's got some of the best production going, alright? So next, we've got industrial metal. Right, industrial metal, I know nothing about you. I've enjoyed Rammstein. I've listened to a bit of Fear Factory, but that's all I've got on you. I don't think I'll like you too much, but I won't give you an F. You get to go on D. Oh, shit, no. Next, hold on. Right, next we've got folk metal. Folk metal. Once again, I know nothing about you, so you go on to D. All right, I'm not gonna judge and just throw you under the bus on F because I don't know. Sludge metal. All I know about sludge is what crowbar. Know nothing about sludge metal. Should I check out sludge metal, people? Is it like doomy-esque, but just there's something else in there? You get a D. Gent. Okay, first one with Gent. Although, is that the Meshuggah head we've got on Gent, which is weird. Gent. I don't like the Gent community. I think they're too obsessed with things that don't matter. I don't like excessive 8-string guitars. I'm not bothered about fancy timings. Can't really mosh to it for the most part. Gent, welcome to tier F. First one in tier F. Gent, don't know enough about it. From what I have heard from the people I've met, I don't like Gent. Black metal. Right, this is a good one. Black metal. I'm not very versed in black metal, but I had a good run with black metal, especially the you could consider it the second wave bands, like the true bands, the Norwegian bands and so forth. I did really get into them when I was a teenager. They're good for lore. There's a lot of good lore around black metal bands. It's King of the Pit TV. You can't really mosh to black metal. And people who are into black metal tend to either be a bit cringy or not be good people. It's one or the other, to be honest. But as far as the music, I'm gonna put you on B tier black metal. I'm gonna put you on B tier. The image is corny when it comes to the aesthetic of black metal, but to the same point, it's actually quite ignorant as well. I like it because it's so bold and ridiculous. The crap recordings, I like in a punk rock sense. And the drummers can actually be really incredible in that genre. Vocally, you can get some really cool and unique style of vocal as well. So I'll definitely give black metal a B. Alright, I think that's fitting. Next, we've got traditional heavy metal. Now, I'm not one for the new wave of British heavy metal or the old school bands. I've never really delved into it too much, purely as the fan base tend to be a bit aging now. And those who are young into that style of music, they don't share the same energy I do. I like the punk rock attitude, and it seems like those whom take on the traditional heavy metal as their like forte, they tend to be a bit too tame, a bit too reserved and soft around the edges. But as far as music's concerned, A tier, traditional. They got the riffs. The vocalists, given it's a successful band, tend to be fantastic. Really incredible frontmen. Performance-wise, good. Moshable, within reason. Just great riffs. Great riffs. That's purely what I base traditional heavy metal on. Fantastic riffs. The band does a great job. The music's fantastic. There we go. Traditional. Next up, we have thrash metal. Right. So, thrash metal was my preferred form of metal, full stop, when I was younger. Really got into thrash metal music. To this day, I think thrash more or less is the best form of metal. I think it's better than death metal. I think it's better than black metal. I think it's better than heavy metal. And for that reason, S tier, thrash metal, definitely S tier. It's hard to find bands that sound like push the boundary of thrash in this day and age. There's a lot of just dun 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 dun, which is understandable because when you push the boundaries so far, you tend to enter other spaces. But On a side note, I think Power Trip might possibly be the best I've let's not say the best anything aside from the best example of what I enjoy in thrash metal music. I think they exemplified it really well in a clear, rootsy fashion. I really like Power Trip. Really like Power Trip. Let's keep it moving. What have we got? Nu metal. Right, so I never really delved into nu metal until I started doing this channel, and the nu metal bands I explored all are very unique, all are very brilliant, great songwriters, and I've enjoyed essentially all of the nu metal I've listened to, whether it be Limp Bizkit, whether it be Slipknot, whether it be System of a Down, whether it be, you know what I mean, so on and so forth. Nu metal's good. Yeah, nu metal is good. It comes with a quirky novelty, but each and every novelty seems to be different. They all have a different edge to them, and that unique value is something I really appreciate. So, nu metal, purely because I've not got a great depth of expertise or knowledge within it, I'm going to put you on B still, because it's all been really high quality stuff. All been fantastic high quality stuff. Next, we've got Pantera representing groove metal. So, as far as groove metal's concerned, all I know is Pantera. We listened to Devil Driver not so long back. It might be on the channel at this point, it might not, but it's definitely on the Patreon. Who else have we got in groove metal? Some people consider Lamb of God groove metal. It's not something I'd go for. I think groove metal is the equivalent to heavy hardcore. But I'd prefer to listen to groove metal to tech death and symphonic and industrial and sludge and so forth. So I'll put groove metal on a C, because there can be some good moments. Next we've got power metal. Straight away, I'm going to put power metal in C, because the craft these musicians have are brilliant. Power metal, like, for some reason, is a magnet for the best instrumentalists in metal. Really bloody good, really good. And they're also very good songwriters. The frontmen are always very good, but tend to lack the edge I like, the offensive value, the controversy value. Power metal doesn't tend to have that. I feel like power metal shares the same space with traditional heavy metal as far as the band and the audience is concerned. They play it safe, play it a bit too safe. Next we've got Napalm Death, which I assume is a grind, right? Grindcore. Yeah, grindcore, a little bit down my street. It can be very varied. You can get all sorts of sounds in grind. I like the D-beat, crustier elements of grind. Not too fussed on the noise of grind. I'm going to put grind as B. I'm going to put grind as B tier, because you're adding punk to my metal. What more could I want? I like that. I like that a lot. So we'll leave that one there. Themed metal, example, Viking metal, pirate metal, Christian metal, etc. So thank you for grouping it all in as one. It's a lot of novelty. I'm not going to say that the bands featured in these themed metals are bad, but just by default, you're going into D because it's novelty. I don't want novelty. We've got progressive metal represented by Dream Theater coming up next. Prog metal. It's a bit dad rock-esque in it, but purely because Dream Theater were one of my favourite bands back in the day, I'm going to put you with C. And we're finalising with death metal, it seems. Yep, so we'll finish off with death metal. Death metal, I came into this channel not appreciating death metal as much as I could, and I've started to listen to some half-decent death metal bands, so I've opened my horizons a little bit. Still, when death metal promote themselves to the metalheads, to the push pitters, they sort of leave out the punkier elements that I look for in music, the stuff that really touches me. So with that, death metal, B tier. So all hails to thrash metal. I guess I've not changed too much since I was young. That's my approach to this. It might change as we continue listening to music. I'll see if I can find a punk one next, and we'll continue onwards, people. One love, peace.